Voiceover Sermons with Terry Daniel and the Universal Voice Talent Coaching Team. Honest and unfiltered talk about all things voiceover.
Parental guidance suggested.
If we could only get him to form an opinion.
And now, here's Terry Daniel.
Good afternoon, everybody. My God, it's been forever. Terry Daniel here, voice actor and coach from UVT Coaching. Sitting right next to me is Rob Marley in Austin, Texas. Yes, he's sitting right next to me in Austin. And Amie Breedlove is here. She's actually, Amie and I have known each other, I think, since one of the FAFCon conferences?
Yeah.
One of those, I think.
We were in Daytona. Is that what, Daytona?
It was so memorable that you don't even remember the city.
Charlotte. There it is. Charlotte.
Yes, Charlotte, which that was my favorite one. And so we've known each other in the business forever. And then Amie was kind of coaching on her own for many, many years. And we decided to team up. She was just too good not to be on Team UVT. I couldn't sleep at night thinking that she was doing this on her own.
Man.
So yeah, I know it's bad. This is a really bad start to the podcast, isn't it? Amie, how many years have you been in the business?
Oh, gee, let's see. Okay. 1999, I guess, would be the official start. I was in radio at the time and found out about voiceover that year, got some super golden nuggets from the station guy who was in town, and did some local paid jobs that year. And life happened and ended up doing more part-time voiceover stuff while in radio all the way up through 2011. And then 2011, I went full-time.
Oh, that is so awesome. Yeah, I was in radio and still doing voiceovers part-time way back in the day, in like the early 90s. I was a jock on a smooth jazz station and also on an alternative rock station, literally in the same week. So I'd be smooth jazz. I'd be smooth jazz 104.1 Terry Daniel. And at night I'd be Danny Terry. Here's Green Day.
Danny Terry, that was your radio name?
Yeah, it was. I had that one, and then Terry Daniel, and I kept Terry Daniel all the way. Obviously, it transitioned well into voice actors because it sounds a lot better than my real last name. But Amie, in all seriousness, we are honored to have you as a part of the team. Our students love you. I've gotten nothing but great reviews. Tell me just a little bit, and we don't have to go into huge detail here, but like when you're coaching somebody on a commercial script, for example, what would be your approach? If I'm brand new to the voiceover business and I have Amie Breedlove as my first voiceover coaching session, just give me a taste of what I would expect. All
right. So first thing, I send a bunch of scripts of the different genres. So we have, the up-tempo, the medium, regular conversational, to the what I like to call the hospital read or the Pampers read.
Yeah. That's a good way to say it.
Thank you. And then we go through each just to see where you are, if you have a grasp at performing. And then from there, we work on the strengths, we work on the weaknesses, combine it all together, just to make sure you have the basics down if you're just starting out.
Yeah, that's good. And you never know what somebody's niche is going to be, or if they're going to be any good at it at all. It's nice to kind of throw the darts and just kind of see where they land, because, we get a lot of emails, and Rob's familiar with this, of people who just immediately want to do cartoon characters or video game characters. And it's so important to just learn basic commercial acting skills before we branch off into all these other genres. So, and
absolutely, you don't know what you're going to be interested in until you start experimenting, and try different styles and different, maybe you really dig e-learning, or maybe you really hate audiobooks, or, you won't know until you try it. And then once you've tried it, then you can move on and either increase it or never do it again. You got to learn.
For me, doing an audiobook would be the equivalent of getting a root canal and a colonoscopy simultaneously. I can't.
I'm there with you.
ADD brain, man. I can't do content. I mean, e-learning is long enough, but at least you can go module by module, and
Right.
Yes.
each day it looks like a short project, because that's just the way my ADD brain works. My brain will not adapt to a nonfiction 450-page audiobook. It will literally put me in the hospital with a nervous breakdown. And
See,
I'm not even kidding.
I've always said I want the most amount of money for the least amount of work, and audiobooks is not it. You know?
Oh my God. And that's why and part of it, I got spoiled because I started doing these theme park promos, for parks around. And that was more retainer based. And yes, those clients are still out there where they pay you a monthly retainer, and some months you don't record anything and they still have to pay you. And that's the beauty of it. But you'll generally kind of make up for it other months when you do a lot of work for, maybe a second. You may not think you're getting enough money, but remember, there's a couple of months it's going to go by where you're not going to get anything. And that's the imaging too will work the same way. Amie, do you have any retainer deals with anybody, or do you do any kind of promo work at all?
I don't at the moment. I did a few years ago, but I would love that again. I think it's just fabulous. Obviously, being from radio, I would love to be, one of the station voices. So that's still one of my goals.
Yeah, when you were nice enough to do some promos, my wife and I just started a local podcast for the community here, just for fun, because there's really not in our area. There's not a real solid go-to resource to find out where's there a cool concert, where's there a nice brewery with a guitar player. What's the latest promotion here and there at this restaurant? So we started that up, and your promos for that were electric. In fact, I'm going to nominate your promo for a Voice Arts Awards.
There you go.
Whichever one. There's so many different award programs now. I can't even keep track of them, but
whichever one you don't have
paychecks are good for me. Paychecks are fine.
Yeah, they I'm surprised at VO Atlanta that they didn't. I thought for sure that they would do their own award thing at that conference, but I don't think they ever did. So we've got the One Voice Awards with our buddy Q is in charge of that, and then the Voice Arts Awards in LA, New York, and all that stuff. But I thought VO Atlanta would do it.
VO Atlanta has their own kind of ceremonial awards that they give. Like they have a unicorn award for the person that has, I don't know, whatever the reason is, but they give a unicorn award, which is an amazing benefit. Like every coach, every training program, every demo that anybody could ever want, websites, all that stuff, it's all included in that thing. And then I also give away awards, like thank you awards to people who have really contributed a lot to the industry and stuff. But it's not as organized as some of the other ones. The best promo said on a network that's not over the air on a Tuesday is given to, and then there's 7 categories of that. It seems there's some awards out there that they have a category for everything.
I don't know if it was the VO Pros group on Facebook, but I had submitted myself for the award for best voiceover cynic. And I was hoping
candidate.
I was hoping that would become a category, but apparently the organizers did not agree with that, and there was no category for that. But I think UVT should have their own awards banquet. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's a great idea.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I have a dress.
Best happy hour cocktail.
Oh, I got that made. Yeah, best cocktail. I can do that.
You probably have one right in front of you.
No, well, I just have water.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't know.
I'll bring the karaoke.
Oh yeah, there you have it. The last time I did that, I think it was at WovoCon that I got up and did Folsom Prison Blues.
I was there for that. I remember that.
Yeah, you were there for that. Do you remember when I had set my glass of bourbon down on the stage and then I walked and kicked it over on the second verse? Do you remember that? That was
I was a little tipsy that night too, so I don't
that
really
was
remember a whole lot.
that was pure art. Let me tell you, that was just graceful art.
That's
Unbelievable, man.
beautiful.
And Rob, you've done well. First of all, I know Rob does killer imaging demos. He gave when somebody
Yeah, thank you.
needs a radio imaging demo. I don't touch that. I usually stick with all the other demos. But Rob does a mean, and I mean mean with a capital M, radio imaging demo. But Rob? You've done some imaging work yourself too for like some stations, right?
There's a couple of stations that I do some imaging for that are just internet stations right now.
Yeah.
And I am on a retainer with a TV station that I do a lot of promo stuff here in Austin. But it's not the crazy zippity pow do kind of imaging stuff that I put out. It's just, support has been brought to you by blah blah blah.
Right.
That's one of those things. But no, I love imaging, and I love writing the bits. I love coming up with the stupid things that catch your attention and make you laugh a little bit and make you remember the show that they're talking about. I love writing that kind of stuff.
Now, is there a sound effect actually called zippity pow doo?
There should be.
There should be, man.
I've gotten into the habit of labeling some of my sound effects files based off the sound that it sounds like.
That's a good idea.
There's one called a bee cow, which is really weird because it sounds like a buzzing. So to me, it sounds like a cow. There's one that I call fire whoosh flick flick because it makes sense to me. You hear whoosh, on the end of it. So I label them how it sounds. There's some weird named files.
Great idea. Well, that keeps you a lot more organized. And I know there's so many good tools now with Isotope. I don't know if it's Isotope, but for like singing vocals, they have it's called the Dua Lipa filter. Because it'll give you that pop sound on your vocal that you hear a lot. Not necessarily, full on auto tuning, but just, every pop singer kind of has that sound. If you're listening to it, really put my finger on it.
I need that in my life.
But there's
a filter
like
audio doublers.
Yeah,
there's like audio doublers or expanders that will like sound like it's double, like it sounds like it's doing a duet with one voice. I've heard that,
and I
don't use any of that.
No, I don't either. By the way, with AI technology, everybody's favorite everything. By the way, AI's been
panic.
AI's been around the production end of things forever. Hello, Auto Heal. How long has that been a plugin in Adobe Audition? Probably for over 20 years now, and I'm pretty sure they had it when it was Cool Edit Pro, because that was kind of AI like, because it's like you're hitting one click, and you're fixing the vocals. So a lot of that stuff has been around for a long time. And then speaking of AI voices, and you guys have heard me I've talked about this in voiceover camp and many workshops before. I'm really seeing a growth in my voiceover business from it. Believe it or not, clients who tested the waters of an AI service and they just thought it sucked, so they found me in a Google search. So I've after 2 years of dealing with some of the fear mongering and hyperbole online and on social media, it's been nearly 20 brand new clients that I would not have today if they didn't think an AI service sucked first. And that's because an AI service, they can't do live directed sessions. They can't make adjustments to the performances. The customer service sucks. And I hope it continues to suck. But I really see it, and then you guys can weigh in on this too. I really see it as another alternative to a client that isn't going to pay us anyway. Lowball clients where maybe the Fiverr talents are the competition for AI, because usually these clients are paying really low rates for an AI service. If you catch my drift.
Exactly, that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the small jobs, the small one-liners like stand clear of the closing doors, or IVR. I think IVR is going to be taken over by AI, because it makes perfect sense to have an automated voice that sounds friendly enough without
Yeah.
having to worry about it sounding conversational or a little awkward on key names. If it's all just, for sales press 1, and for, for service, customer service press 2, I think
Yeah,
that's
we
where it's
just have to
going.
learn to live with this stuff. I think it's always important to focus on what you can control. Remember when everybody panicked when drum machines came out? And drummers found a way to make it work. And remember, no one will ever forget. And Amie, you've been around long enough to hear this as well. Remember, everybody absolutely panicked when Fiverr came out. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
All my clients are going to Fiverr. They're going to fire me, and they're going to find some of these lowball talents on Fiverr. And, guess what? We've all found a way to make it work together, or even the pay to play sites like Voices and Voices.
Yeah, not a big
One, two,
fan of
three.
the pay to plays,
No.
especially that particular one.
Well, Armin is still the one who just has so much class, who runs Badalgo. He
Hidalgo is
actually
fantastic.
cares about his talents. He vets his talents. Definitely a good service over there.
And he's got a solid AI policy too. He's like, he believes, humans only, and I think that's a great way to go. So Armin's a rock star, always has been, always will be.
Well,
Good
and
guy.
then from what I've heard, the new CEO at voices.com had spoke at VO Atlanta telling people that, hey, I'm listening, blah, blah, blah. And then 3 days later, this letter went out, and you got it, Rob, about.
Well, I got handed it. I'm not on Voices anymore, but somebody showed it to me. And
Tell us what was in the letter.
Well, there was 2 letters that came out. One was the family and friends. Like, if you have, the first thing was we will if you can record 30-second videos with your phone. They wanted it on 4K video, and they wanted your face so that you could train AI. And then the second letter that came out was like, hey, if you've got friends and family who have absolutely no skill whatsoever, get them to do it, and we'll pay them as well. And so basically, they're paying you to train your replacement. That's what they're doing.
Oh my God.
And even though
this is like a week after he spoke at VO Atlanta telling people that he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and he said that he was going to make sure that all the rates follow the GVAA rate guide. And there was one that was posted just like weeks before that was like a $20,000 job that they were posting on Voices for like $3,000. So it's just, talk is cheap. And it's just another interim CEO to try and keep the company solvent enough so that they could either go IPO or something else. But I don't know. They're the devil. Sorry.
Yeah, they are. Amie, are you on any pay to play sites, or have you ever been on like Voice 123 or had any success? I mean, there are people that have found success on pay to play sites. We're not that cynical or that much of a hater where we don't realize that people can actually do well on it.
I am being, not in when I obviously I was in West Virginia. So I started out with pay to plays, and it was a way for me to find clients.
And did you find clients?
I did.
Awesome.
Yes. I still work with a very good client that's in Boston now.
Yeah, they can be clients for life. You don't have to stick with them on the pay to play platform. Right. I know that voices.com, or the other word that Rob calls them, I know that they kind of don't want you to work with them outside of the platform, but I don't know how they.
God forbid really you make money outside of their platform.
Yeah. But that's good. That's good to hear that you still have that client.
I think pay to plays are a valid way to get work. It's not that it's wrong to be on a pay to play. I just think, you have to accept certain things by being on a pay to play. And one of them is knowing that the company is taking the majority of the budget for themselves, and you're just getting a small pittance of that. Yeah. And the other is kind of knowing that you're just you're back to being an employee. You're just another cow at the slaughterhouse, and if you moo the best, you get the job, It's so, but
Oh,
it
wait,
is
you
a
know
great
what?
way
Wait
to
a minute now.
practice.
I have to write that one down. If you moo the best, that's too
Well,
good, man. I have to write that down.
learn how to moo. But that's, but it is it's a good way to learn. I was just telling this to one of our students today. It's a good way to learn your workflow, to the process of seeing an audition, practicing, rehearsing, recording, editing, and sending it off. And then also the client interaction and hopefully the invoicing later with the job. It's a great way to streamline your workflow so that, you can get through auditions faster. You figure out shortcuts and hotkeys that speed up your work. So and it's great for practice. It's a great way to keep your skills, to hone the knife, kind of hone the edge of your skills in voiceover. But just don't expect to, get rich just by working off of that.
No, I remember booking when, it definitely always helped if you got your audition in immediately before like all 500 people beat you to the punch, like, I mean, there are people that sit there with their inbox open and they wait for the bell to ring and then they just get on it as quick as possible. Honestly, that's kind of what you have to do. Did you do that, Amie? Like the second you got it, you just jumped on it?
As much as I could, yes.
And are you on Voice Realm?
No.
No, thank God. And by the way, to this date, I still have no idea who the hell owns Voice
No,
Realm.
who owns that?
I have no idea. But one thing I will tell you right now, they shouldn't drink and tweet.
Are they still doing that? I haven't seen any of their posts in a while, but I remember like they were going toe to toe with people that
It was
they were being
bad.
belligerent.
They
I'm
really
like,
were.
well,
That's
some interesting marketing.
it was unprofessional, and I don't know
Yeah.
who had their hands on the keyboard that night, but yeah, they were going after absolutely everybody. But you know what? This has happened now at least a dozen times with that company, and they do the same thing. Somebody either this is allegedly now that somebody this is the way I see it. Somebody gets bombed and starts doing all these tweets from their company, but then they always apologize the next morning and they claim that they were hacked or an upset intern got a hold of there's always some excuse.
I think part of it might be that they want to be controversial to stay on the radar.
Well, that could
like
be. Maybe it is.
It's a
Maybe it is.
PR thing.
Yeah, because we still, I've talked to like really good pro friends in the industry and no one knows who owns the company. And if they happen to hear this podcast, if you want to come on a future episode, we'll have you on, if you
now
really
that we've
exist.
talked trash about you the whole time, come on in and let's like we'll talk.
Hey, I'll be the first one to apologize if there's actually a human being behind this, but there's nothing on the website that would indicate where the owner is, where they're located. It's very, very suspect, I think.
I was on Voice Realm for a little while. It was a pretty decent site. You got a couple of auditions a week. And it again, good practice. It was a great way for me to stay, up on trends and making sure my skills were where they need to be. But I wasn't no significant amount of my total income was coming from any of the pay to plays. It was all from direct marketing on my part. So, but yeah, some people do make a lot of good money. I mean, well, I don't need to drop names, but there's been some key people that have made bank on voices because they're auditioning machines. They've got their skills up to par. They know what they're doing as professionals, and they can crank out auditions fast. And it's a numbers game. It's volume. So the way to get to the yeses is to get through the no's faster, and these people were good at it. And now they're hugely successful with other things, but they got their start through pay to plays. It's a good way to go for some people, but not for everybody.
Amie, do you do a lot of direct marketing, or are you still on a couple of agency rosters, or where do you get most of your work?
I have 5 agents, but then I also direct market too. And then being here in Orlando is helpful because there's lots of little agencies around. But yeah, I still do my MailChimp. I do my postcards. Need to make some new business cards actually, because I just changed my email. That's been a pain in the butt. So yeah, definitely marketing is key.
I love that you still do. Well, like still do. You're one of the few people that do postcards. Like back in the
Yeah.
day, that was the thing. That was how
Huge.
you marketed yourself, was through postcards and
People
letters and stuff like
I
that.
tell you what, people still want something tangible that they can hold in their hand. And
It was
that
so
still works.
yeah, it was so ubiquitous at the time, but now because of email and everything online, it's nobody's doing it. And because of that, it's unique. So, somebody
Oh,
like a
good. Maybe I'm
producer,
standing out.
yeah, a producer getting somebody's a voice artist's postcard, that's they're going to hold on to it. Yeah, I think it's a great tactic. It's a great way to go.
Thanks. Yeah, I actually accidentally, when I first started this, ordered the big postcards that I don't know the sizes, but it was like this big.
Ah,
I thought it was, the normal size postcard. I'm like, oh my God, these things are huge. And I still have them, and I don't have them. I don't know where they are, where I would show you. But it's like, I actually said a big thank you for working on whatever project. And it worked out because it's huge.
a
And
big
Oh,
card
that's
for a big
great.
project.
Yeah, big card. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Instead of just a normal size postcard.
Sending a thank you postcard after you got the job with the client, after the job is finished, that's chef kiss. That's
It's
awesome.
gold. It's
That's
gold. Because
yeah.
nobody wants one of those online thank you cards that everybody else is getting. Those
Nobody cares.
automated. I don't even know the name. There's a million companies that do it.
E-cards.
Yeah, they're e-cards, and they're so nothing. Nothing is more opposite of authentic than sending one of those e-cards to your client over the holidays over to thank them, because they know damn well that 300 other people got the same card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like,
No, I think a handwritten note that says, "Hey, thanks for the work. Loved working with you." That's how you get return clients. And that's what we all want as voice artists, is people coming to us instead of us having to find them.
exactly. I mean, I think of it as when we were searching for our Florida home, and one of the realtors sent us bars of soap with a little thank you note. And that I'm like, it's the little memorable things that you remember.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
most
bars of
promotional
soap?
items are terrible.
No,
Like
I'm like, does that
pens
mean
and
that I
crap like
stink?
that.
I mean, no. I mean, I don't know.
Something useful like soap is a great idea. So there was somebody at VO Atlanta one year that their business card was made out of metal, which was cool in itself, but
Yeah.
it was designed to be a pop filter. So it was in the shape of a pop screen, and you could clamp it to the front of your microphone to use as a pop filter, which I thought was weird, because why would you be giving a
Wow.
pop filter to a producer? But to other voice artists, that was a great idea, and I thought that was really cool. It was a metal business card that would doubled as a pop filter. Cool idea.
Well, I think
Neato.
we should. I think UVT coaching. I think we should have our own bourbon. Like Sammy Hagar has his own tequila, right? He's a big rock star, but yet he's got his own tequila. I can't remember the name of it. Is it Cabo Tequila or
Cabo
something?
Wabo.
Yeah, it's Cabo
Cabo
Wabo
Wabo.
Tequila.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't tried his tequila, but I think UVT should have their own whiskey. What do you guys think of that?
I'm a rum guy, but I'll go with whiskey. That's cool. Whiskey in a rum barrel. Rum aged.
Oh yeah, that works well. I think we'll send it as a thank you gift to all of our students and all of the engineers at the offsite studios, where as you guys know, a lot of our students record their demos from home, but we still book people in offsite studios who want to get that experience, or they just don't quite have the home setup ready. And I think we should add. Oh, what do you got there?
We could make it, like a glass of the bottle is shaped like an old classic microphone.
That's a really good idea. Or the top.
Yeah.
Twist it off.
Yeah. Yeah. A little twist off top that looks like a microphone. I think that's a great idea.
What voice?
Yeah, let's do that. It's only money, right?
What voice actor doesn't have that classic microphone in their studio? I've got it in the back, as you can see, like right above the turntable.
I love mine. This thing is actually great. It's a beautiful mic. It's not the old school mic. They use an SM57 capsule inside of it, and it's just a great microphone. I use it for a couple of my radio things that I do, and
Is
I
that
love it.
is it a USB mic or is that XLR?
No. It's just good old XLR. Or you
Oh,
can't see it on this
nice.
side,
Okay,
but yeah, it's
yeah,
just an
that's cool.
XLR mic.
Cool.
And it goes into a preamp, but it's the modern version of the classic 55SH. This is this is
Very,
called the
very
Super
nice.
55.
And of course,
Nice mic.
and being a huge Prince fan and Vikings fan, I always appreciate your purple lights. Background, Rob.
Purple's my favorite color. I
Me too,
love
man.
that color.
I'm all purple rain here, man. Purple rain every day. And then Amie, what kind of microphone are you using these days?
U87.
Oh,
well,
she's got the
geez,
U87.
an aristocrat.
Maybe you could answer this question because I've tested both I used to have a 103, the TLM 103.
Yeah.
And I've been in studios that have had the U87. And I've never been able to tell the difference between the 103 and the U87. Have you been able to really tell?
Similar. I think it's super similar. And the only thing I can maybe, or I don't know if it's just perception, but this one seems a little bit more bassier.
Yeah, a little more low end on it.
Maybe so, yeah. I'm
That
still
would probably make
thinking
sense.
of maybe getting. I want to get the Sennheiser though, definitely. Maybe for this room because I have two studios because we go back to West Virginia in the summer, and this mic does better there because the room is bigger. And so I'm thinking I need the Sennheiser for this room because
the 416, the shotgun, like what Terry's on.
Yeah, exactly. Because this one is just almost too much for this little room.
I like the 416.
That's the problem with the high-end microphones because even like the 103 and the U87 and those high-end dynamic microphones, they're super sensitive and they pick up every little squeak, every little noise. You'll hear the cockroaches screwing in the house next door. They're very, very sensitive microphones. 416s, the sound canceling properties of a 416 seems to work really well in environments where maybe your recording space isn't as super quiet as it needs to be, or you just need that wonderful proximity sound the proximity effect that you get off of a 416 that you don't get anywhere else.
Exactly. And I use in fact, I have to use my, the Softube plugin on my Apollo with this one here because we're really close to a busy road. So, and we have squirrels on the roof. So they're screaming on the roof.
I'm not in the best space at all, but I have a nice expander gate tool in the Apollo Twin console that I'll flick on if there's a little bit of noise outside. I mean, it's treated pretty well, but the gate works great if you just need that little extra,
it's funny. I've always used just a little bit of gating, just to make sure that the silence is flat in my waveform. It's not eliminating sounds. It's just there's no you don't hear the gate slamming closed at the end of words or anything or clipping the words. It's just so that when it's silent, it's silent. Right. And I've always used that just a little bit of EQ just to tweak my voice just a tiny bit, but nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amie, I do know that rumor has it that you also have a very solid vinyl collection.
Yes, I do.
I see her throwing some of her records up on Facebook every now and then. I now have too many. I mean, the reason my sound is so good in this space because there are so many damn records. It's literally, I'm serious. It's literally added to the treatment of the room.
That's perfect.
Oh yeah, I just ran it. They're just they're in these crates all over the place, and when I
have 80s, and then I have a huge collection that I'm an only child, so my parents loved big band music, so I have this enormous collection of I had no idea how much music they had, and it was stuffed into the basement. And finally, last year, I'm like, I've got to get a music room together, so I hauled it all upstairs, which my back I think almost went out carrying all that up.
Oh my God, yeah.
Last year. But I'm so excited because now I have it there and I miss it here when I'm here in my little tiny house in Florida. Because there's nothing like an album.
Yeah, no, I went from albums to tapes to CDs to MP3s, and I can't count the amount of music that I've lost over the years because of that.
All right.
You know, I wish I could physically hold my music. I miss that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just staring at it for hours and
reading the jacket as you're listening to it. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Like this one here. And by the way, I like to put this on in the background when I'm working on like a meditative narration. It's Anthrax.
Anthrax.
Persistence.
That's very soothing.
Persistence of time. I mean, my wife wonders why my ADD just gets worse every year. I'm wondering if it's the music.
Maybe it's the smell. I'm weird. I love the smell of records.
I know. Oh my God. Really old.
Cardboard smell.
The musty.
Oh, the vinyl itself.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
And you get that must that Rob is talking about when you go to these antique stores and you buy those really old records for like $5. And I mean, usually the antique stores, I mean, if you really want to find like a lost Conway Twitty album, that's the
Roger Whittaker.
Oh yeah, Jim Neighbors is always there.
Like Jim Neighbors, yeah.
Jim Neighbors is always. Captain and Tennille is always there in the
Engelbert Humperdinck.
Engelbert and Roger Whittaker.
Yeah,
Roger Whittaker.
Yeah, all those. It's finally gone from Anthrax to Roger Whittaker.
Where else but here will you hear that kind of a segue?
Well, I remember, I don't even know if they really don't show them anymore, but when we were kids growing up, that there were
all over the TV.
They were selling records, in TV commercials. Roger Whittaker was all over the place.
That's where I got half of mine.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I have the whole. Oh, I wish I could go see what the title of them is because I can't remember. But it's
You're still paying off that Columbia House bill, aren't you?
Probably.
11 albums for a penny.
Oh, yeah, that was huge. Wow. But they took too long. The delivery was always 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Something like, oh my God. And then Amazon will bring you a couple records to you the next day. But
it's just so convenient to just say, I want it now, and have it delivered that day sometimes,
They were pretty some of the albums were really flimsy because I remember cutting the records off the back of Honeycomb cereal. I think I had Sugar by the Archies that was on the back of a Honeycomb cereal. That was in better shape than some of these albums that you would order from those goofy clubs.
Yeah.
Yes. I got one off TV. It has the Telephone Man on there and the gal is standing there and it's all like fake artists singing today's current hits.
Oh yeah. The cover. Oh yeah.
I never knew when I heard the real one. I'm like, who is that?
Oh yeah, they kind of scam you on that because it was always in really small print. It'd be like you'd get these 20 top 40 hits, and then at the very bottom of the back side of the album, it would say sung by the Marley Sisters.
Yeah.
Or like shit like that. It's like, oh, wait a minute, these aren't the original artists?
I was only 7, 8 years old, so I thought it was the real deal. And then, once I got to school and I started learning about all of it, I'm like, well, that's not what's on my record at home.
I think the first two records I ever owned was a 45 of the Star Wars theme with the Cantina Band on the B-side. And then
you still have that?
Was
this the disco version of the Star Wars theme?
No. This was the original John Williams from the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my first real record was Foreigner 4. I think that was
nice.
4. I love that
album.
I've got that.
I air guitared to Jukebox Hero so many times.
Oh my God, great tune. I've got that back in my 80s bin. That's definitely back there with Toto 4 and Asia, Men at Work and all those ABC. But the first 45, I don't know why the hell I remember this. But no wonder I was such a screwed up kid. My first 45 was Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks. I mean, why would I? That was such a depressing song. And of course, he ended up.
My first 45, Quiet Riot.
Wow.
Nice.
Come on, feel the noise. And then they followed that up with Bang Your Head, I believe.
Yes, you're right.
Or
Yeah.
no, or was it Mama, We're All Crazy Now? One of those.
Oh. Hmm.
They both
I don't know.
sounded
I
kind of the
remember
same.
I had that Quiet Riot album. I played that one a lot when I was a kid. That and
Bang
Van
Your
Halen.
Head was the one where Ren McCormick was listening to in his yellow bug in Footloose when he pulled into the parking lot of the school that he was going to. He was listening to Bang Your Head by Quiet Riot. Oh my God, what a voice. That was your first 45?
Yeah. And then even dizzier from that, I got next, my second 45 was the Dukes of Hazzard theme.
Oh my God, Waylon Jennings.
Yes.
Just the good old boys.
Oh yeah, that was oh God, that was great.
And I still have both of them.
Waylon Jennings.
I loved the Dukes of Hazzard. That was one of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid. Fridays at 8, I think it was.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I loved the Dukes of Hazzard. Big fan.
That was a great show. I mean, all the car chases were the same in every episode, but it was I mean, talk about the characters were so cartoonish.
Yes.
That was quite the
I think
that would not hold up well.
That's how they got around the obvious like racism and things like that. They didn't touch on that. It was like, oh, it's just a couple of guys just trying to, I think at the start they were moving moonshine, and now it's just the evil boss that didn't like them. They never really said why they didn't like them.
J.D. Hogg.
Jefferson Davis Hogg.
Oh wow, you remembered the whole name.
Oh
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, the actor too. I believe the actor's name was Sorrel Brook.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Fantastic actor
or something. I think and Cletus was always my favorite character in that because he was just such a goof. Yeah, that was. I watched the Dukes of Hazzard. My sisters all loved Dallas. They were addicted.
Oh, Dallas, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. What was it? Every Friday?
It was after Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes,
I was
time
to go to bed.
And I'm so tired. It's been like a really long week at school, but I have to watch Dallas.
And then JR got shot, and it just became this global phenomenon because they were supposed to do a new season, and then I think the actors went on strike. And so the suspense continued across the planet of who shot.
It was beautiful marketing. Absolutely beautiful marketing. The whole world was captivated by it, Yeah, it was really amazing.
Unbelievable. I can hear the theme in my head right now. And now I'm going to have to go look it up on like YouTube. But well, does anybody? We kind of got away from voiceovers, but that's
so
the
anyway
beauty.
About voiceover.
That's the beauty. Well, you know what? That has always been the beauty of doing voiceover sermons is getting into these other lanes and talking about other stuff. I mean, honestly, there's enough voiceover podcasts out there that just stick to voiceovers and the points. Some of them are great. Some of them are hideous. You can learn a lot from some of them, but that's not what voiceover sermons is. We just talk about whatever the hell we want.
You could angle it to, we watch those shows because we study the actors. And
yes.
Well, yeah, Dukes of Hazzard. Waylon Jennings was the narrator. Yeah. And I always loved the way he had that kind of country way that felt very welcoming. Like, don't come back now. It was that kind of a feel to it. It was it was very Southern hospitality. But yeah, it was all because of the narrator.
Yeah.
He was great at that. Speaking of narrators in TV shows and movies, was there a better narrator than Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption?
Oh God.
Yeah. I don't think you can come up with one. I mean, there's a lot of really great ones, obviously, in the history of cinema, but that one was really, really special.
There was a point a few years back where every audition I saw asked for character reference was Morgan Freeman. They wanted a Morgan Freeman voice.
All the time.
And that's the thing, one of the things I always say is like, then they would get like 500 people saying, I'm Morgan Freeman. And they would all try and sound like Morgan Freeman. And that's the idea, is that you don't want to sound like Morgan Freeman. You want to have Morgan Freeman's essence, his coolness,
the style of the performance.
Not a note for note impression of Morgan Freeman. You just want to have his feel to it. And that's what people would never understand. When they do those character references, no one gets it right.
I always
just thought of another narrator. I'm sorry, I just interrupted you.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
from my favorite book, but To Kill a Mockingbird, the movie, I love the narration.
Is that Gregory Peck?
Yeah, Gregory Peck's in that, but the narrator is
the kid.
Yeah, it's Jem.
The kid, yeah, the kid. Who is the actor again? Does anybody know?
If only there was a computer right in front of
you. Yeah, Rob, get on the Google and get on the Google. I sound like I sound like my dad now. Hey, I was on the Google and I saw that you were fired. On the Google.
I've used that before with my students. Like
Jem Attica Finch.
Check out that narration. Give me that sound.
That is a great one. I had long forgotten about that one. Of course,
Philip Alford.
Phyllis Alford.
Philip
Alford. Okay. Jim. It's because Jim was the narrator. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what they're saying. I don't know.
Well, another one too is
I thought.
If you remember Robert Redford's narration in a movie called A River Runs Through It.
Yes.
A very young Craig Sheffer and Brad Pitt, very young Brad Pitt in that movie. Tom Skerritt was the dad. That was a great movie, come to think of it.
Yeah.
And Redford was the director, and they filmed it in Montana and all these beautiful, areas of the country out in that area. And that was a good, I would like to watch that one again. That was
I think I need to revisit that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of voiceover sermons. Kind of a fun one that was just literally all over the place.
Yeah, why not?
I had a blast.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was great to finally hang out with you two.
Yeah.
No, this has been a long time
It's kind of like a happy hour. It's kind of like we're at a bar, but we're not at a bar. Like this is the kind of conversation you'd have if we were just hanging out somewhere.
Hopefully people learned a couple things and laughed a couple times, and that's what a good podcast is supposed to be about. By the way, you talk about, Rob, real quick, about you getting emails from clients asking you to sound like Morgan Freeman. I have nightmares when I get that email where somebody wants me to sound like Bill DeWeese.
Oh, no.
I'm not kidding, Bill. If you're listening, I doubt you are, but
Bill, you're a nice guy. It's okay. Go back to Fiverr.
I told you anything goes on voiceover sermons. Amie, are you regretting joining the call?
Oh, no.
What is he going to say next?
No, I'm not regretting this at all.
That wasn't a very confident answer, Amie. I'm not convinced that you meant what you said.
Let's just ask Mr. Rogers. What would he say?
Oh, nice. Oh, man.
Wait, I couldn't hear it. He said something. Say it again.
Oh, he said something. Hang on a minute.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
No, it's getting blocked.
But you know why? It's the Zoom audio. Is that
I like to think of all kinds of helpers in the world.
Oh, that's nice. Is that King Friday?
No, I think that's just plain old Mr. Rogers.
Oh, that is Mr. Rogers.
Okay.
And I can't really see what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's Mr. Rogers, I put a what do you call this thing? The Christmas hat. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that is Fred Rogers. There he is in front of he's right on the trolley there.
Is that the Tom Hanks Mr. Rogers? That looks like it's like fairly new promotional item. Is that the Tom Hanks one?
It could be, but he Mr. Rogers actually went to college here in Winter Park at Rollins College. So
wow.
Kind of a town thing here. So my husband did that for me for Christmas a couple of years ago.
That man was a saint.
Mr. He was Rogers, incredible. And if you ever get a chance to see it, if you've never seen when he met in front of Congress and was trying to get money for PBS, do you know the video that I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Yes.
It basically saved the show. And then they made the decision like right there. And they were going to give him a bunch of money. It is the incredible way he handled that, whatever it was, hearing, I guess is what we should call it. That is 10 minutes of must-see YouTube TV.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that man could do no wrong. He was a minister, but never preached. He just preached.
Right.
He spoke the truth from his heart and didn't try and like proselytize to anybody.
Yeah, my favorite kind of minister. Beautiful. My favorite kind of minister by far.
The right way to minister.
That is
all
correct.
right. So if you heard this podcast and you want, boy, I was just, usually at the end I go, if you want to work with us, but maybe I should maybe I should skip that part today.
If you don't want us to do these podcasts again, send us $20 to.
No, seriously, if we are a great team, we're 6 coaches. We're all experienced in voice acting, which is a huge benefit if you're looking for a coaching company. I'm not saying there aren't great teachers out there, but when I got started, I wish I would have found a coach who was actually doing voiceovers full time, and all of us are. So hit up our website, uvtcoaching.com, and we'd love to talk with you if you're interested in training with us. But if not, that's fine too. But we love what we do, and we're going to be doing this forever. So, Amie, thank you for joining the podcast today. We really appreciate it. We'll definitely have you back. The question is, will you have us back?
I would love to come back.
Thank
I'll bring
you.
Mr. Rogers.
And then Rob, we'll see you for the workshop on Saturday. And
yeah, that'll
be fun as they always are. So thank you everybody for listening to another episode of Voiceover Sermons. By the way, you can subscribe to this podcast on Apple, iHeart, Spotify. I think Google Play's gone now, isn't it? I don't even know. Amazon. I think we're on Amazon as well. Wherever you get your podcasts, we will be there. And there's also a podcast page on uvtcoaching.com as well. So, hey, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It was fun. I had a blast.
All right. Take care. And we'll talk to you guys on the other side.
See ya.
Bye.
Voiceover Sermons with Terry Daniel. If you're interested in getting your voiceover career going in the right direction, drop what you're doing right now and visit uvtcoaching.com.